ASI EMEA have partnered with the Maggie Centres and Penny, Barbara and Simon to create a cookbook for patients that contains a number of recipes that are nutritionally sound, that have been scored using the unique thumbs up analysis that Barbara Parry has created. The Maggie Centres were set up to provide patients with an additional service outside of the NHS where they can seek advice and counselling with regards to their cancer diagnosis. The Maggie Centres are set up within the grounds of NHS hospitals, so they're very closely located to the appointment centre that the patient has been to. The Maggie Centres are centred around the kitchen table, so when you visit you are welcomed in. You can make yourself a cup of tea and take a biscuit, and at your own time you can speak to one of the specialists within the centre about your diagnosis or about your friend or family's diagnosis and seek advice. ASI has created the cookbook as a resource for patients which contains nutritious recipes. The ASI EMEA team ran a number of cooking demo days for staff based at the EKC to meet Penny, Barbara and Simon, as well as to learn more about the nutritious recipes that the book contains for patients with cancer, and to learn how to cook a number of the recipes. The printed book will be distributed for free throughout the Maggie Centres in the UK, and we're hoping that our affiliates will translate the book and work with their local customers to distribute it to patients.
The book is aimed at both cancer patients and their carers. I picked the recipes in the book by trial and error, I think mostly, and experience. In the first instance, we worked with what we called our best friends, friendly foods that we know are positive foods that are helpful and potentially even preventative for people that are suffering from various forms of cancer.
Penny obviously is my lady wife, and I'm the one who was diagnosed with cancer in 2009. I didn't actually know Penny then, so I had my operation, and then I was put on some pretty heavy duty chemo. I was clear for a while, and whilst I was on chemo, I started to struggle, to be honest, because whilst you could get lots of nutritional advice, I hadn't a clue how that actually equated when it came to food. Sadly, the cancer returned. In November 2010, I was given about 18 months, 2 years to live. Without the extraordinary good food and the right nutrition, I wouldn't be here now. I'd be dead because I wouldn't have been well enough to have the operation. Penny, with encouragement from others, basically turned it into a book, which is currently the fastest selling cancer food book on Amazon.
The logic behind it is when you're going through treatment, one of the first things to go is your mouth and your taste buds, but also your ability to salivate, and your throat gets dry and your mouth can get very, very sore, and it's sometimes almost impossible for people to swallow. Things that you think are really not logical or you don't like, when you're going through treatment, your taste buds change, and all of a sudden something that was really horrible becomes your new best friend. Any good cook, whether you're a cook at home or whether you're a chef, the quality of your foods is actually in your sauces. If you get your sauces right,
there's something that happens when people undergo a critical diagnosis of something that is a stimulus to them making some lifestyle changes, and changes to their food and nutrition are one of the first things that people feel they can take control of after they've had all the specialist treatment for their breast cancer. Some of the recipes that, they're really concentrated sources of nutrition in just a portion sometimes. Penny's fish pie recipe that's in there and Simon's pie recipe is just absolutely thumbs up for so many things. And one portion can provide over 1,000 calories of so if people can eat that, they're getting a really good boost to their energy intake, which might help counteract some of the fatigue that they're experiencing because they're tired, because they've got no appetite to eat, and it becomes that kind of vicious cycle. So it's all about getting people's taste buds tingling, refreshing the mouth, taking away some of the nasty metallic taste that could be a side effect of some of the medications prescribed, and actually getting people, to feel that they can, eat and enjoy something, because the first principle of healthy eating is enjoy your food.
So a day like this helps me understand why I'm doing what I'm doing for my job in the world of cancer, and it's been absolutely tremendous because it sort of really it just grounds me. It really makes me understand what it is that men and women who are facing cancer are going through.
I found the day very insightful and didn't realise before today how much nutrition had an effect on cancer patients.
I think just the importance of food in the diet for people that are suffering from cancer and how important it is. And just actually how easy and enjoyable it is actually to produce good food for yourself. I think that's really my big learning from today.
I think I've learnt and I've enjoyed working with a professional chef, seeing how they work and just being busy in the kitchen with the team. It's been brilliant.
And I think it's really great that ASI is kind of collaborating with Penny to do this cookbook. So I hope a lot of other patients will benefit from it.
I think sometimes we get so concerned with our day-to-day targets and activities that we forget the real reason why we're here and forget the human aspect. I think that these types of activities are very grounding.
Today's very important for ASI because it's one of those opportunities that we take as a company very seriously, where we get insights on patients and patients' reality. We sell this cancer chemotherapy, Halaven. We know everything about it in terms of the data and what it means in terms of safety and efficacy for patients. But what we've learned today is the challenge that cancer patients go through in terms of nutrition. And simple things like losing taste, sensation, and the sorts of foods that they can no longer eat or tolerate. That's a fascinating insight. It's very important because it affects patients' daily living. And that's what we learnt about today. What we're going to do on the back of this today, because I think it's important when you do something for HHC, you bring that back into the workplace. So what we're going to do with this is in our patient information leaflets, where currently we don't say anything about nutrition, we're just going to put a note in there to remind patients and their physicians to discuss nutrition as patients are going through chemotherapy, because I think that discussion alone could help uncover some important value for patients.
I think it's hugely important to have a company like ASI involved in a project like this, and to be leading a project like this. It's unique and it's wonderful. I'm really proud to be part of it. For a patient, there are four big components, there are four partners. The patient's self-belief that he or she can do well in whatever stage of treatment they're in, or health. The carers and the families, the medical team, the doctors, the nurses, the surgeons, palliative, post-palliative, through the entire treatment. And there are also the drugs themselves. And the drugs give hope. And sometimes you say, you know what, if we get through this 6 months, there's going to be another drug and we're going to survive. And that's really important.